I never imagined I'd be sharing something like this. Not because I didn't think it was important, but because for so long I blamed myself for everything. My name is Rachel Carter. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, raised by a single mom after my dad passed away in a car accident when I was just 6. My mom, Melissa, was only 32 when he died, and I was too young to understand the emotional load she carried, trying to raise a daughter on her own while battling grief that never really left her. For most of my childhood, it was just the two of us. We didn't have a lot, but we had each other. Mom was always working, 2 jobs most of the time, and I learned early how to make my own meals, get myself ready for school, and put myself to bed. We had this quiet, unspoken bond. It wasn't always warm hugs and bedtime stories, but it was steady, safe. Things changed when I turned 14. That's when she met Todd. He was different from the other guys she had briefly dated. He had a nice smile, a calm voice, and a kind of confidence that made people listen. He worked in real estate and was good at talking to people, which, looking back, should have been a red flag. People like Todd know how to read rooms, how to manipulate feelings with just the right words. At first, I liked him. He brought my mom flowers, fixed things around the house, and even helped me with my math homework. After years of watching her cry silently over bills and stress, I saw her laugh again. Really laugh. Todd made her feel seen, and that made me want to like him. They got married a year later in a small courthouse ceremony. I wore a light blue dress and held my mom's hand while she said her vows. I remember the way Todd looked at her, like she was the only person in the room. Back then, it made me feel hopeful. I thought maybe we could finally be a family again. Maybe life was finally giving us a break. Things were okay for a while. He didn't try to be my dad, and I appreciated that. We shared quiet dinners and watched movies on the weekends. Todd would ask me about school, offer advice about college, even joked about teaching me to drive when the time came. My mom was working less, smiling more, and I started letting my guard down around him. Maybe that was my mistake. It was during my junior year that things started to shift, though I didn't realize it right away. Todd began to act differently when Mom wasn't around. At first, it was subtle. He would compliment me more, not just about my grades or accomplishments, but about how I looked. He'd say things like, "You're growing into a beautiful woman," and though it made me uncomfortable, I convinced myself he was just trying to be nice. I wanted to believe the best in him, for my mom's sake, for mine. One afternoon, Mom was working a late shift, and I was in the kitchen making a snack. Todd walked in, stood a little too close behind me. He reached over me to grab a glass from the cabinet, and his hand brushed against my back. I froze. It could have been accidental, but something about the way he lingered made me feel uneasy. He smiled and walked away like nothing happened. After that, I became hyper-aware of him. His glances lasted a beat too long. He started asking questions that felt too personal. He'd knock on my bedroom door without waiting for an answer. I told myself I was imagining things, that he was just awkward, maybe clueless. But deep down, I knew something had changed. He was testing boundaries, slowly and carefully. I didn't tell anyone. Not even my best friend, Katie. I was ashamed, confused. I didn't want to ruin what my mom had. She was happier than I'd seen her in years. Every time I thought about saying something, I imagined her face, the heartbreak, the disbelief. So I stayed quiet. I kept my door locked at night. I started avoiding being alone with him. But silence doesn't protect you. It only makes you easier to corner. It was a rainy Friday evening when it finally happened. My mom was out of town for a work conference, and Todd was supposed to be staying at his friend's house that night. I had just gotten out of the shower when I heard a knock on my bedroom door. I froze, towel wrapped tightly around me. I knew it wasn't supposed to be anyone. My heart started to pound. "Rachel? It's just me." I left my charger in the living room. Todd's voice came through the door, calm and casual. I didn't answer. I waited, barely breathing. Then I heard the doorknob jiggle. I had locked it, thank God, but the fact that he even tried sent a wave of panic through me. "I'll be out in a second," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He didn't reply. I heard footsteps walking away. That night, I slept with a chair pushed against my door. The next morning, I packed a small bag and went to stay with Katie. I told her part of the truth, enough for her to know something was off. She didn't press me, just handed me a blanket and said I could stay as long as I needed. Her kindness made me cry. I finally broke down and told my mom everything the next day. We were sitting in Katie's backyard, and my voice shook as I told her about the compliments, the way he looked at me, the door incident. She didn't speak for a long time. I could see her trying to process it, trying to hold both truths at once, that the man she loved had made her feel alive again, and that same man had made her daughter feel unsafe. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just stood up, pulled out her phone, and called Todd. Her voice was cold and sharp. "You need to leave the house," she said. "Don't come back. I'll have someone pick up your things." I moved back in 2 days later. My mom filed for divorce not long after that. She never doubted me, not for a second, and I can't tell you what that meant to me. A lot of people aren't that lucky. The months that followed were messy. There were family members who didn't understand, people who thought I was exaggerating. But I knew my truth. And I had my mom beside me. It's been 5 years since all of that happened. I'm in college now, majoring in social work. I want to help people who feel voiceless, who feel trapped. I still think about those days, the slow unraveling of trust, the confusion, the shame. But I don't carry it the same way anymore. I don't blame myself. I was a teenager who wanted to believe in the good in people. That's not a flaw, that's humanity. If you've ever felt like your safety was being compromised, please know this. Your instincts are valid. Your voice matters. You are not overreacting. The people who love you will listen, and the ones who don't? You don't owe them silence to protect their comfort. I let my guard down because I wanted a father figure, someone to help fill the void that had been there since I was 6. I never thought that would be used against me. But it happened. And now I speak about it, not because I want pity, but because I want someone out there to hear this and realize they're not alone. Because sometimes, the people who hurt you aren't strangers in the dark. They're the ones who sit at your dinner table, smile at your report cards, and pretend to be what you need. And that's what makes it so hard to speak up. But I did. And I survived. And you will too.